Welcome to our podcast, Life at SJOG Doing Good. And this podcast is where we meet people, we talk about what we do, and we particularly celebrate what we do, I think. So each episode we have two different colleagues every time we do a podcast, and we are chatting today with Sunday. And Sunday is a support worker from our Autism Specialist Service, the Old Vicarage in Stockton-upon-Tees. So very welcome, Sunday.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And this is Dr. Lisa, the SJOG Chief Operating Officer.
I am, for the pleasure.
She's had over 30 years of experience, and then she's been supporting people with autism and families.
Yeah, 35 years experience this year in August, I believe.
That's so much.
I know. So in this episode today, we are talking about autism, everyday acceptance, and really what we do and what looks good in our practice in SJOG. So as you know, in April, it's World Autism Month, and we've been running a campaign called Autism Acceptance Looks Like ... So today we're going to not particularly look at the theory of autism, because we've done lots and lots on that, but we're going to specifically focus on our practice and the impact that we have made at SJOG supporting people with autism. So we'll be looking at our services, our teams, and the everyday life working in SJOG.
Yeah. Permit me, I'll be asking you a few questions around these. You've started your career as a volunteer support worker in autism services.
I did.
Can you take it back a little bit?
Okay, so I need to take you way back. From growing up, living in an environment where children used to play out in the fields and in the parks. And one of the children that was part of my group, and I'm going to use the word that I used at the time, he was different. He thought in a different way, he played in a different way. And when I think about it now, we were very progressive in our thinking, even at a young age, because we very much included him in everything that we did. And when he needed a little bit more support, we would wrap our arms around him, not literally, but offered him protection and time to think and process and allow him to have those moments where he needed a little bit of time out. And the more I think about it now, we were very progressive in our thinking then, because we absolutely accepted him as part of our little gang when we were smaller. And I think over the time, I've listened and learned from him, and I still do in many ways. And I never thought I would go into autism. That wasn't the career that I thought I would go down, but he intrigued me. He absolutely intrigued me. He still does. And I then decided I want to know more. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I thought I'll go and do some volunteering. And that's exactly what I did in an autism specialist service. And really my career grew from that. And to be honest, within the space of a week, I was hooked. I thought, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. And within a couple of months, I was offered a position, and then my career grew over time. And I think really every time my career trajectory has changed, it's been because of people with autism. It's because I've learned something. Oh, what does that mean?
It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
It's a learning curve.
So I think really from probably the age of about 5-6 years of age, I've been around people with autism, and for some reason they've intrigued me, and I think I intrigue him in some of the things that I will say to him, and we almost have a bit of mutual partnership and benefit from each other, because I'm learning from him, but he's learning from me
as well
too. So it's a lovely relationship, actually.
That's good. So when you look back, right, what lessons from those early roles still influence how you work or lead today?
That's really easy for me. It's about listening from the person.
True.
And as I say, from the age of 5, 6 years of age, I would study him, his mannerisms, the idiosyncratic, quirky behaviours, actually, and they taught me so much from him, and I still use that to today by listening and learning from them, because I learned so much from those individuals.
Was there a moment when you realized autism wasn't just part of what you want to do, or but something you wanted to specialize in?
I don't think there was one particular moment. I think I've just always been very empathetic, always been very inquisitive
Yeah.
about him, and then realizing when I started to do volunteering work, I started to see some patterns and some trends in other people with autism. So I think really it manifested over time. I didn't have one of those light bulb moments and thought, I want to be in autism services. I think it's an innate thing within me. It's just always been there from a very, very early age. And as I say, when I moved into volunteering role, albeit very, very briefly, I realised I'm good at this, and individuals with autism seemed to come to me more, and maybe they saw something in me that possibly I didn't see very early on, but they did, and I was good at it. And I didn't realise at the time, but I was really good at supporting people to be calm and seeing beyond a person's behaviour and seeing the anxieties in the individual and that they were trying to communicate something to me. I didn't realise that at the time.
I believe your knowledge has influenced your publications around the autism world.
Possibly, yeah.
You can look her up online on Facebook or social media and see more about Lisa.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think in a nutshell, everything that I've learned from people with autism, and also the people around them, their families, very important, their other professionals, and I've took a little bit from everybody, and it's like a mosaic. That mosaic has created almost a picture for me in how to support one individual with autism is very different to how you will support another person with autism. So that mosaic of information and learning and education, I think, is really important.
Yeah, I'm so much interested in the model you designed, the PBS model you designed in relation to people with challenging behavior, disability and autism. I'm so much interested, and I urge people to look into that as well.
And I think again, the nutshell of that is that the person is at the centre.
Yeah.
And understanding their characteristics, their personalities, alongside how autism can impact on that individual is really important, because it is very complex, but it is also very individualised to each individual person, and understanding that is really important. So I think that's what I've took away.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well done, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you. So I've got some questions for you, and obviously we've talked a little bit about my experience of 30 odd years. So how long have you worked for SJOG, and really what brought you to SJOG?
Yeah, I've worked for SJOG slightly above 3 years now.
Wow.
That's 2022. I joined August.
We're doing something right then.
Positively, yeah. Positively, yeah. I joined SJOG because of the culture, which I identified a long time ago. So I came in as an agency staff, and I worked few shifts. I was like, no, I don't want to leave this team. I want to be part of this great team. So when I went online, I looked at their policies and some of their policies, and like no, I want to be part of this learning culture. I quickly signed up. And lucky enough for me, I was accepted and I was called in for an interview, and that went through.
I think you've hit a couple of words there that are really important
Yeah.
to showcase.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is culture.
Yeah.
Having a positive, favourable culture
Please.
for people with autism and for our colleagues
Yeah.
is really important. And the other word that you used was a learning environment. And having a really positive learning environment means that people with autism can flourish, but
Yeah.
so can our colleagues. And it's mutually beneficial and a partnership for
It is.
both.
It is.
So that's quite powerful.
It is.
If you can harness and create that, people
Yeah.
thrive.
Yeah.
And we see that every day. So that's
Yeah.
really nice to hear.
Thank you.
So what did you do before SJOG, and was it a similar role or was it completely different?
Yeah, it wasn't completely different, but it's somehow related. However, I was a student, a full-time student. I did my master's program at TISA University. That was 2021, 2022 academic session. And people asked me, how is it related? I was like, I study international management.
Right.
Yeah, and when you look at the concept of management, it has to do with managing or overseeing both people and material resources. And the people aspect is an interesting aspect that was very theoretical to me then. And I looked at, okay, how can I make this practical? So I found myself in the practical aspect of supporting people and then caring for people in need.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a real humanistic element
Yeah, there
that
is.
you gravitate to, which is really good. And the other thing that you said was that you apply that learning.
Yeah.
And something that we do a lot in SJOG, particularly in our methodology of how we train and learn
Yeah.
our colleagues is what we call in vivo learning.
Okay.
And in vivo learning is when you are immersive in applying theory into practice. And we do a lot of that. So when we train people, we use case studies, we talk about real life examples,
Yeah.
and we encourage you to be involved in that at a real deep immersive level. And I think that's where the learning really shapes itself in a really positive way. So that's really good to hear. You're ticking all the right boxes after 3 years, Sunday. I'm very pleased by that.
Thank you.
So what do you enjoy most about your job?
Improving quality of lives.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
It is like I could count my fingers and tell you that there is much I've experienced since I joined SJOG. Quality of life has been improved. We've got young lads that when I came up and they signed up newly with SJOG and they were what they was. And with our policy, with our model, and with our practice, with our involvement with them, and with our interaction, with the inclusion and every of that. So there is this massive turnaround in the quality of life. And the family members could testify this. And they come around because they come around for visits and they see like, oh, my son is done well. My son is done. Like those testimonies, they are very satisfying.
Yeah.
So you see that every part of their life is improved positively. The things they used to do before, they no longer do them. And they have these socialization, this social being coming up, socializing with people, happy to meet people, happy to go out, like their lifestyle change turned around for good. So these are very satisfying moments about the job, and I enjoy it so much because I found myself a part of the team that does this great work.
Yeah. And you mentioned our autism practice model, and actually the number one outcome of that model is to enhance quality of life.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably worth highlighting that, the quality of life is obviously the primary importance of the people with autism we support, but also your quality of life as well.
Yeah, it is.
Because when your quality of life is good, life's good.
True.
And you are in a much more positive mindset, and that really does resonate on the people that we actually support as well. So again, you're ticking the right boxes. So the last question in this section is, can you think of a moment that's made you feel particularly proud of the work that you do?
I've got a series of moments, but
Yeah, just one. Just one. I'm putting you on the spot.
there's a thing there. I'm all right now. Every little step matters in this autism, and in SJOG, everything you do is appreciated. That's very satisfying as well. And the one moment that makes me feel particularly proud is the moment we had a crisis, and then based on the series of trainings I've been through, I was able to use that knowledge to de-escalate that very behavior. And that was done perfectly, that I was called back to say, well done for what you've done. So that moment was really satisfying, because if I had not known that from SJOG to say, okay, being through these trainings, I wouldn't have gotten that knowledge, and that knowledge is still in me, and that knowledge is something that I know cannot leave me, because knowledge cannot leave you when it is learnt. Or
one of the things that you said early on was that the training helped you
de-escalate,
deal with that crisis situation. And you know, we all have, whether you're autistic or not, we all have times in our lives where, you know, it's not running to plan, isn't it? But in autism services, that can be very impactful if our colleagues are not capable, if they are not educated. And that's something that we really focus on, that capability and the resilience to be able to support people when they have a difficult day. And I remember back in the 90s, early 90s, when Jim Mansell produced his first report, which was really talking about the resilience and the capability of service providers. And when that's not in place, the impact is on the individual with autism. And that can sometimes lead to people needing to go into a hospital placement. And Professor Jim Mansell talked about that in a number of his reports over the years. So to hear that one of your takeaway moments and one of your proudest moments is when you were dealing with a difficult situation, you had the skills to be able to de-escalate that situation, and you had the resilience within yourself and within the team to be able to wrap that support around that individual, so that the impact was lessened in terms of a negative impact. And hopefully the relationship, and I know this, that the relationship between you and that individual is so much more positive.
It is.
As a result of sessions and episodes like that. I think that's really nice to hear, actually. Sometimes it's difficult to put these things into words.
It is.
And I think that's where, you know, you're very new in the world of autism. And coming at it from the other angle of having 30 odd years, I can see past what you're saying, and I can see the impact that can actually make. So it's nice to hear, really. So, as you know, it's World Autism Month, and we launched the public campaign, and we were asking people to finish the sentence, autism acceptance looks like ... So let's start there. So to me, autism acceptance looks like asking the person. It really goes back to asking the person, what does acceptance look like to you? Now, that's easy when the individual can actually articulate and communicate that with to you. And where that can't, it's about speaking to the individuals who know the person with autism the best. And that will tend to be family members or professionals who have had a lot of time to get to know that individual. So for me, autism acceptance looks like, asking the person, what does acceptance look like to you first?
Okay.
Yeah.
So to
What
me,
about yourself?
Yeah, to me actually, autism acceptance, I see it as inclusion, getting individuals involved in their care exercises, in their routine, getting them involved in their everyday life. So no discrimination, don't looking less of them, thinking that they don't make sound decision, that they cannot help themselves, when you know that not having patience with them. Autism acceptance to me is having patience with this individual, getting them involved in their day-to-day activities.
And I think we're both coming at it from a point of view, again, it's that humanistic element in what we've already talked about, but we are empowering people, giving people a voice,
Yes.
allowing people to make the decisions themselves.
Yeah.
Whether they have capacity or not,
Yeah.
it's still very important that they're giving that forum to be able to make those decisions where possible for themselves. So that's really good to hear. I've got a few more questions for you.
Okay.
Probably feels like an interview process, but hopefully it's a little bit more enjoyable than that. So let's talk about an average day
Yep.
at work for you at the old vicarage. What does autism acceptance look like when you're on duty supporting people?
To me, on an average day, what autism acceptance look to me is simply respecting routines. Respecting routines, like how the process are done from one step to another step, one step to another, like taking them along. Like, are you okay? Having some clear communication with this individual. Don't hurry them. Be patient with them at every point in time. Prompt them to do things calmly, and when you're having conversation with them, be patient. Like, give them time to process information.
Yeah.
Right. So on a typical day for me, on an average day, as we will call it, is simply respecting the routines.
Yeah.
We don't want to like hurry them to get things done quickly. It's not about getting things done quickly. It's about getting things done well.
Yeah. And I think what you are highlighting there is that you are adapting the environment to the needs of that individual.
Exactly.
There's a little quote that I often say to colleagues. I often say, whatever you do today will affect the person's tomorrow. So accepting and respecting those routines is really important, because the following day or the following even few moments can be impactful.
Yeah.
So actually respecting those routines is really important. And something that we talk about in SJOG in our training is that we are guests in people's lives. We're very much guests, and understanding the individual's needs and respecting those needs is so important, because it provides the identity of that individual.
Yeah.
And it just means that they have a good day.
True.
They have a good future.
True.
They have a good life.
True.
So
True.
those are really important things. So if you can you share an example where you've made maybe just a very small adjustment in how you support somebody that has actually had a really big difference and impact in a person with autism's life?
Yeah. True. The adjustment I could think of is a little, because we know that every little positive changes has greater impact on an individual. So what this means is that understanding an individual is a big thing for everyone supporting an autistic person. So I've been in an environment whereby I had to come off my own comfort zone to understand an individual's need. Because when there is a crisis, for instance, of an autistic person, there's a need that is unmet. So understanding that need could lead to a greater impact, a positive impact on that individual's life.
Absolutely.
So the little adjustment I found myself in is, in terms of communication, is keeping clear communication, keeping clear conversation, keeping short my conversation with these individuals. For instance, I want to ask an individual if he or she is hungry. I cannot be like, do you want to eat? Or like food, drink, sleep. As short as that. So it keeps the processing time reduced. So these are little adjustments I've learned over time. Like I don't need to say so much words to get this individual confused. Few words is more effective in understanding to an autistic individual.
And you're adapting your communication to their particular needs around communication. And actually, there's a couple of things that you've said there that resonates with me. And the first, which is lovely to hear, is that you're looking beyond the behaviour and you're identifying that there's an unmet need, which is so important. And another quote that I often talk about from David Petoniak, who is the author of a number of articles around positive behaviour support. And he says that sometimes we typically react to a person's behaviour rather than respond to the person. And you've just shown a very wonderful example where you are responding to the person's needs rather than just looking at the behaviour. And that's so important, because when you get that wrong, it has such a negative impact on a person's quality of life. So that's really nice to hear. So how do you think people can show acceptance in everyday life?
Getting them involved, just in simply inclusion. Getting them involved in the day-to-day activities. So if I want to make a decision, if we want to make a decision about the person's routines, for instance, ask them questions. Like what model we've developed recently is to have a picture cards where we fit in inclusion in terms of communication. Some of them struggle to understand when you tell them words, so we simply show them pictures, like what would you want to do? So that's the inclusion, like letting them involved in the day-to-day activity. So that's showing them like, okay, we accept your decision. It's all about you. Anything you want to do, it's fine. So that's the acceptance, getting them involved, the inclusion.
Yeah, I think for me, particularly as Chief Operating Officer, it's about how can we shape the future of SJOG and shape the services that can be as impactful as possible, and including the people we support with autism in those decisions are really important. And we do that in lots and lots of different ways. And understanding what works for the people we support and utilising that in our future models, in our practice, is really important. And also having people with autism who want to be involved in our training opportunities and talking about what it's like to have autism. And we're doing that. And we also have, all the way up to our trustees, our board of management, we have neurodiverse trustees, but we also have trustees who have autism themselves. So I think what we're demonstrating at SJOG is we're not taking a tokenistic approach to this. People with autism are shaping and changing our services for the better. So they are truly services that are accepting of autism and not just an awareness of autism. So yeah.
That's nice. That's nice to hear from you.
I think I've answered your first question.
To be honest, I wanted to exactly what I want to say now.
I've answered your first question. Apologies for that, but it was a nice segue in. But I think, from an organisational point of view, autism acceptance is about having people with autism at the table to make decisions and to shape what we do, because they're the experts in this. We're just the catalyst to be able to make things work and provide the resources to be able to do that. So apologies, I stole your thunder there. I just answered your first question. I'll leave the next two to you.
But for the sake of the podcast, I will just ask for people to know what the question are. So from an organizational point of view, what does autism acceptance looks like? She has answered that effectively. So why is it important that so many of our colleagues have specialist autism training?
I think autism it can be very complex, because sometimes we're not just looking at autism, we're looking at other comorbid conditions, and sometimes how those other conditions interact and affect an individual can be extremely complex. So actually having training where we don't just take a generic approach to autism. Our training is very person-centered.
Yeah, it is.
So, we will look and put almost a lens over the people that we support, and the training is really designed around understanding their autism, and bridging the gap to, well, this is the presentation, and then putting that into some practical understanding for our colleagues, and then writing that into care plans, in risk assessments, and it's really understanding where that all comes from, so that pardon the cliche of a golden thread, but that golden thread of understanding that person's autism into practice is something that you can only deliver in person-centered training. So we do that, and then we also look at other aspects of how we support people. So, for example, communication. So we will look at the different types of augmentative communication strategies that we could particularly look at. We might look at picture exchange communication, how to adopt that approach. We will look at things such as sensory processing and understanding the difference between hypersensitive and hyposensitive, and how that can manifest and present in an individual with autism, and so on. There's so many things that we particularly look at. And the model helps. So the autism practice model that I developed many years ago now really helps to break down the domains of what you would look at in autism. So theory of mind, for example.
It's very detailed,
And we would break all of that down, but we break it down from a point of view of how does that affect that individual to how it affects another individual can be very, very different. So having that training that puts that lens, that microscope over an individual, so that we can truly understand their autism and how it can affect them, is really important to do. And we this is not just a one-stop shop. We constantly do this. So, you might come on a course around autism, but you've only just done one course on autism, and that one individual, we would then replicate that with other people that we actually support. So it's when it's done right and it's applied right. Again, people thrive. People learn. People understand. They're educated, but they can apply it in a way that is specific to that individual that they're actually supporting. So I think we do it well, but we're constantly learning, and that in vivo approach where we're immersive, we're applying immersive training is key, I think, to bridging the gap between theory and practice, and it really does help.
So how can people show acceptance in everyday life?
How do they show acceptance in everyday life? Asking questions, be curious. I was at an event last night. It was a comedy show, actually. And there was a gentleman there who was doing stand-up comedy, and he was a gentleman with autism. And what was lovely was he talked about his autism in a very jokey way, because he can do that. But actually, people were being educated as he was doing that, and people were learning whilst having fun. It was just lovely to see, and it was actually quite empowering for him to do what he did last night. So I think it's asking the questions, it's being curious, reducing the myths of autism. I think that really helps, and just talking about autism, and being proud of what we do and celebrating what we do, I think is definitely a way forward.
Right. So one of the key messages of the campaign is that autistic voices should lead the conversation. So we've got a few questions we both are going to be asking around.
Okay.
So just pick the questions. So what we do, we pick the cards here.
Okay.
At turns. And we just deliberate on each question.
And we don't know what's coming.
And we don't know.
Okay, no pressure there then.
So you do the first pick.
I'm going to do the first one, am I? All right, no pressure there then.
You.
So the first one is, how do we ensure autistic voices influence how services are designed and delivered? I think I've already answered that one.
I think I've said something a little about that as well.
But just to add to this one, we are developing our strategy for the next 3 years. And what I'm really proud to see is how our executive management team and our board of management are really supportive of hearing the voice of the people that we support. And we've done that in lots and lots of different ways, but myself and my other colleagues, executive management colleagues, we've been out into services, we've spoke to people, we've spoke to professionals, we speak to families, we do lots and lots of surveys so that we understand the temperature that's out there, and we ask lots of questions. And sometimes the questions might be hard to hear, but they're really important things to hear and learn from. And the next strategy, the next 3-year strategy, is really hearing those voices. And that's lovely to see. And hopefully when we deliver on this strategy, people that we support, our colleagues, families and professionals will say, I've been part of that. So it's really inclusive, I think, of everybody within SJOG.
No information is too much.
Exactly.
Every party is involved in making decision about an individual.
Yes.
So that's the inclusion, or that's the system we're trying to we exhibit or we hold strong as part of our culture at SJOG.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
So now you're picking the question and answering the question.
Yeah,
so no pressure there, Sunday.
What's something an autistic person has taught you that stayed with you? Patience.
Patience.
Yeah, patience. Yeah, because they take time to process every bit of information. And when you look at our lives today, the things you do in a hurry are not always perfect. So you need time to process and rethink about a decision or an action that is taken. At SJOG, we've looked so much at this, and we'll make sure that, okay, everybody learn is mutual. I'm looking at an individual, I'm studying the person, trying to understand the person's needs, the person's desire, the person's daily life. These are practical sessions where I learn from. And in my own life today, I can boast that I've got this patience from nowhere. Before now, I'm always in a hurry to do things. But right now, I'm set to, I want to rethink. I want to ask myself questions over and over again about some decision that I'm taking. Is this the best decision for myself? And so I've learned from them as well.
Yeah. We take it for granted, don't we? That
we do.
These are the things that we like to do. This is our preferences. This is our wishes. This is our aims and all those sorts of things. We take that for granted. But for some people, whether they're autistic or whether they have other needs and they're in care, we have to do a lot of work.
We do.
To actually understand.
We do.
From their point of view.
And that's the most difficult part in human, understanding an individual. You have to put your own belief system, keep it aside to understand this individual. Otherwise, if you have a box mind whereby you don't want to learn new things, you can never learn. What SJOG, we have a teaching that helps us open our mind towards learning new things. So on a daily basis, we keep learning and learning and learning.
Good point. So next question is, okay, how do you make sure we're not making assumptions about autistic people? We ask people, and where that might be difficult for a person to be able to communicate, we will make sure that we use their circle of support around them, people who know them best. So families are very much involved, and hopefully when families hear this podcast, they will be sitting going, yes, we absolutely are involved. So listening from their points of view and also from other professionals. But the most important thing is watch, observe. What works really well? What do people find really positive? And can we see that in their mannerisms, in their body language? So we will use that, and we will use that more. What didn't work so well? We use active listening. So active listening is not just about using your ears, it's about using your eyes. And really observing that whole body language, because the majority of communication is through body language, not through the verbal responses.
True.
So again, it's from the person themselves.
I agree with you. You've said it all, actually. One thing I've always known that assumption is the weakest part of knowledge. If you want to get it quick, just assume and get it done.
Yeah.
But in SJOG,
Yeah.
we've tried not to do that.
Yeah.
We understand, we have these patients with these individuals, try to communicate and have this message passed and understood, so we don't reach conclusion quickly. No, we make them decide, we get them involved in the decision processes, and we don't just jump into concluding when the person have not said.
I think that one of the other things that we do from a reflective practice point of view is where we may not have got it absolutely right, we will put that under spotlight. And spotlight, again, is almost, we're putting a lens over that particular situation, and we unpick it.
Yeah.
And we challenge our assumptions.
Yeah.
Because we need to test those assumptions out.
Yeah, true.
So that we can put some validity and reliability to that information. And taking a multidisciplinary approach to that is really important. And having really good detailed records where we can look at trends and patterns of events helps to be able to come to some reliability of the information that we actually have. Because I think when you don't challenge your assumptions, that can be a slippery slope.
True.
And we're very protective. You mentioned culture right at the beginning of this podcast. And by challenging ourselves, and we are a critical friend to one another in our practice, is very healthy for a learning organisation as well as your own practice as a practitioner of autism.
True.
Okay, next question, Sunday.
My turn. Right. What's one autism myth you wish would disappear? That's very generic because I've always wished that people stop putting people in box, like in a class, like every autistic individual is the same. No, we don't look at that at SJOG. Like you made mention of having this reference point or our training being specialized on an individual. So we have a reference system whereby we identify an individual and their needs, and we do training specific for this individual on how to help them live a better life. And we do not group these diagnostics as a group to say, oh, 5 persons, 3 persons are having autism, so we treat them the same. No, we treat every individual based on its peculiarity, and we see them not as an autistic person, we see them as an individual just like us. So one of the greatest myths I want and I wish that would disappear is putting people in one umbrella. Autism or autistic is general, or is a group thing, or is the same.
Donna Williams, who is well known in the autistic community, sadly not with us, but she used an analogy many years ago. Autism is like a fruit salad. Each spoon that you have will be a different concoction of that fruit salad. And I think she gave a really good analogy to that. And you're right, no 2 people are the same. No. They might have that terminology, but when you dig deeper, it affects and impacts people in very different ways. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm on to my third one now. So this question is, has working in autism support changed how you experience the world yourself? Oh, absolutely. I'm not sure I can say that in one salient, concise sentence, actually. I think how I experience the world, I'm more sensitive to my surroundings. I'm more in tune with my surroundings. We're sitting in a surrounding now that has been designed in a way that is very neurodiverse. We've looked at the decor, we've looked at the lighting, we've looked at the acoustics, the spatial elements within the environment. It influences how we develop, not just in ourselves, but in the materialistic elements of the organisation. And actually, it's making people thrive, actually, that knowledge. So I think I'm more in tune with things around me. I'm much more reflective. Did that work? Why didn't it work? let me think. I need to go and look into that. And I think from a career point of view, every time I have supported an individual with autism, and I call them my happenstance moments, they're the life events that you have in your life or in your career. And when those events happen, it's made me think, why did that happen? And I didn't get that quite right. Let me figure that out and let me go and learn more about that. And I've done that through education and going away and looking at the theory and dissecting almost those events so that I understand why they happened in the first place. That happened very early doors from an incident in 1992. I got something wrong. I didn't pick up the cues, I didn't pick up the signs of this individual's anxieties, and it spilt over, and I didn't understand why. So that made me determined to understand that. And I've carried that through, because I think the more I understand, the more I can help raise awareness, but I can also help raise acceptance, and bridge that gap of understanding of why things need to be the way things need to be for people.
I agree with you. You made mention of reflection, and probably that's basically the key for me, because I've experienced a life of steady reflection ever since I found myself in the autism world. I ask myself a lot of questions every point in time. Why is this so? Why is this so? Why? A lot of questions I keep asking myself. Why is this behavior? Why is this behavior? Why is this behavior?
Yeah.
And then it's go beyond the behavior to me at that point in time, because my question is, what has been the unmet need, or what is the reason for that behavior? So it leaves me in dilemma at every point in time, because everybody having different behavior, different autistic characteristics and everything, it makes me want to have constant reflection of how people live, or how we could support people the best and improve life on a daily basis. So my world has really changed, seeing myself in the autism world, because before now I could count how many number of times I've sat down to have this reflection about my own self. So now I deal with people on a daily basis, different persons at every point in time. So I'm reflecting, having series of reflection. I'm like, okay, fine. If this is this, then we have to go towards this direction and everything. So my life has been a reflective life since I came into the autism world.
In actual fact, what we use in our practice in SJOG, we do a lot of root cause analysis. So when we put the spotlight on a particular incident or a situation that we need to learn more about, we use root cause analysis, but we particularly use the 5 whys approach. So why did that happen? And then the response will be whatever the response is, and then you ask why again, and you ask why again, and you ask the five whys until you get to the root cause. And sometimes the root cause is something really small and possibly insignificant to us, but for the person with autism, that is a huge issue that can mean I'm going to have a really good day or I'm going to have a terrible day.
I agree with you.
So using the 5 whys approach is very useful. I think we've got have we got one left?
I think one more. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, it's yours.
So the question here says, what's one thing you've learned that could help others understand autism better? I'll keep saying this again over and over again. It's patience. So I've learned to have extra patience with somebody, not be in a hurry to get response when I try to communicate with an individual. And this has really helped me, and I would also want to teach this or let people know that this is our culture in SJOG, and we do that because we want results. We want results. And in my service, for instance, we have recorded few incidents over time, because amongst ourselves we teach ourselves, we preach to ourselves, what have you learned better from this situation, so every day we have this scheme. In fact, right now we've moved our training, our PACE training, to be in-house, because we want to have this constant interaction amongst ourselves on how to better the lives of people that we support. So we've learned, or I've learned basically, that patience is a key in the autism or autistic world, autistic society.
And I think you mentioned the PACE training, which is an acronym for Positive and Capable Environments.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that if we can support people to understand the right environment, a favourable environment for an autistic person, whatever it is, then understanding what that is can really help a person to thrive and again have a really positive day. So that's really good. Okay, right. So we're moving on to part 4, which is we're moving on from the awareness to action now.
Yeah, that's the most important part that most people want to see, because it's not about the awareness, but the actions. So I have a few questions for you, Lisa.
Oh, for me.
So why is awareness not enough on its own?
Awareness is just really the foundation.
Just one thing.
It is. There's so much more to it than just awareness. True acceptance is accepting people into everyday society. You know, we know, for example, the statistics of an autistic person actually having employment is woefully low. So we need to do more there. So awareness is not enough.
It's not. It's not.
So accepting the needs of people with autism, particularly in the world of employment, has so many benefits that it is still very much untapped. So I definitely think awareness is good. It's
good,
not to say that it's not good,
yeah.
but it's just the foundation. There is so much more depth and understanding to that we need to do more. And there's lots of research out there, there's lots of government papers, there's lots of parliamentary debates and committees, and you know that is a start, but it's certainly not enough, and we need to keep having these conversations to be able to really be able to offer people with autism the benefits of what we all have in our lives, because there is still not enough opportunity out there for people with autism.
So how does awareness show up in systems like rotas, environment, communication, and routines?
Yeah, I think acceptance is, for us,
Yeah.
it's just how we do things here. It's a habit.
It is an habit, I agree with you.
It's not something that, well, we've got to put a rota in and we've got to make sure that the routines are,
We stick
are
to
in
it.
place.
No,
Yeah.
very dynamic.
It's just, it's innate in us, and we just do it because it's habit. And I think that's because of the culture that we've created and the understanding of how to support people with autism. But I go back to a capable environment will be different for everybody. And here at SJOG, we do a lot of preparation work before we even accept a person a service with SJOG.
Yeah.
And that work is around understanding how autism impacts their particular life. And we really drill down into looking particularly at the environment, and the sensory environment in particular is quite a critical area of understanding for us. So building that into everyday work and routines is part of just what we do. But it goes beyond our routines. Our policies, our procedures are all developed with autism in mind.
Yeah.
Even from, if we were to look at a procedure around onboarding somebody,
Yeah.
from the initial advert,
Yeah. Yeah.
we are looking and talking about acceptance. We build that into the interview process. We build that into the questions that we ask the referees. We build that into the onboarding and the inductions, all the way through into the training, and then the career pathways that we have created for people. So that's a small part of what we do.
It really shows in the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we help acceptance feel natural?
That's a really good question, you know. And I think because we've developed services from scratch.
Yep.
We haven't inherited services or autism specialist services. We've really developed them from conception.
Yep.
And I think that's why they do feel natural, because everything we've done, from looking at the properties that we purchase for people with autism, we have the people in mind. And we design those environments based on their assessed needs, around sensory environments, for example. and then the routines and everything just follow suit. So I think it's natural because from the conception of the idea, let's develop a specialist autism service, we've had people in mind from the beginning. And what I would say about that is we protect it and we safeguard it. And that's really important, you know, so that whole natural feel has to be protected. So we do that through our quality assurance processes, through to our supervision processes, to our debriefing, our reflective practice. So it becomes a habit. And I think to support it to be natural, we create the habit. So then the habit becomes natural.
That's good. What's one small pledge listeners could make today? One small pledge listeners could make today that would help create more autism acceptance in every day?
I think I would want people to be inquisitive and ask the questions.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of families, and I have for 30 odd years, where you know their child is in a supermarket and there's been a meltdown moment, and you get the people walking past and staring or tutting, and
True.
you know that's just a naughty child, and there's nothing naughty in any shape or form of what that child is doing. And I think just being a bit empathetic, because you don't know, and we've just talked about assumptions, and assumptions can lead to the wrong impression. So rather than criticising, just be a bit empathetic.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand, ask the question. And speaking to a lot of families, parents in particular will say, I just wish the person would ask.
Exactly.
So that I can explain. And it takes the pressure out of the situation.
Yes.
And actually it creates the awareness, which hopefully leads to the acceptance. Yeah. That would be my one takeaway from that situation. We've got some quick fire questions.
Yep.
Crikey, these are, and I believe that they're there.
Yeah.
Okay, am I going first again?
If you want me to, I will.
Go on, then you go
All
first.
Right, that's fine. Let's see what have we got here. Favorite moment at work this month?
Favorite moment at work this month? I can name. Okay. It's not just one; it's several actually. But we have Work Vivo. And Work Vivo is where our colleagues put articles, they'll put pictures, they'll put videos. And what I love nothing more than when services like the Old Vicarage will put videos of some activities that some of the people that you support are doing. And there is nothing better than when you see a picture or a video footage of somebody thoroughly enjoying themselves. And one that really springs to mind was a young man who was sitting on a swing, and he was stimulated in the best way possible, and the noises that he was coming out with were such happy, enthusiastic noises, which was demonstrating to me that he was living his best life. And he was thoroughly enjoying it. But the real crux of this was our colleague who was supporting him was sharing in that moment. Yeah. And when I see those things on Work Vivo, it's like we're doing all right. Yeah. We're thriving, people are thriving, people are flourishing, and not just the person with autism, but our colleagues as well.
So I'm happy you use the Old Vic as a yardstick when making analysis, because actually we are the one that do those things.
You do. And, so. and you know, a lot of our colleagues do that, but I think, you know, to see that mutual in the moment enjoyment
so it's more like a competition for us at the moment, because everyone wants to top the charts. So we go out, we want to get involved in activities that are interesting to these individuals, activities that they want to get involved in. So we filter and know what best fit them. And then we know, okay, last time we visited this activity, this person was very, very active, and then we want to go there again. So we do those filter and we take pictures and we upload that to Work Vivo, people to see and comment.
And that's important for families and professionals to see that as well, because you know, for a family, having a relative being supported by other people, sometimes that could be stressful. So to see those video footages and those pictures, it gives a lot of comfort to a family. Okay, so next question is a moment of great support at SJOG you've seen recently. Oh, a moment of great support.
Yeah. What a big transformation in the new transition we had about an individual at SJOG. When it was transited to the old Vic, there are lots of behaviors that it came with. But with our model, the PBS model designed by Lisa, privileged meeting you. So we took step-by-step process with him and constant communication to know what he wants, and we realized that there are some practice that he brought that he never needed. So with that communication, the more tangible one is the use of diaper. He doesn't like it, and he's well controlled out of it. So he knows exactly when he wants to use the lube, and he knows when it's finished, and he doesn't go to bed even with diaper. That's a big transformation. That's a moment that I've experienced, and it's highly
quality
recommended.
of life outcome, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay, next question is your go-to comfort snack at work.
I love chocolates.
Just chocolate, just lots of chocolate. Well, the good thing,
I just speak on a bar and I'm fine.
Yeah, the good thing at SJOG, we have a meal a day, don't we? Which is absolutely lovely. So in all of our services, we have a snack. Either a snack box or a snack cupboard, and all of our colleagues can go to. And mine is normally one of those nice little breakfast bars with the chocolate in between. It's chocolate. Everything's chocolate related. Everything's chocolate related.
We're fine. My turn.
Go on then. Oh, sorry, I'm being eager now.
So one thing you would tell someone joining SJOG, you should be ready to be patient, compassionate about the care. So we are very compassionate about people we care for. We take them as our number one priorities. We understand that we cannot show love if we are not loved ourselves. So we must or should be ready to show compassion to these persons. We should be patient with them and be ready to join a team that transforms life for good.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the areas that often gets overlooked in autism services, not so much these days, but I go back many years where it was overlooked, was the support, the pastoral support to our colleagues, and making sure our colleagues are well supported, well trained, and that leadership is visible. So this is a good example today. You're a support worker, I'm the chief operating officer, and we're actually having a reasonably good conversation. And that's really important because when leaders are not present, they think they know that their services are good, but they don't know their services are good.
True.
And at SJOG, we're visible. We test and make sure that our services are good, but we talk to our colleagues a lot. So we have the Loved programme.
Yeah.
And Loved programme is living our values every day.
I just noted appreciation just now. Like this staff appreciation is there.
Yeah.
It's on high. I can't remember anywhere whereby I've worked in the past, for instance, where my birthday is acknowledged. We do the Do Good Day. What again? Third one is
we have the GEM Award. The Going the Extra Mile Award.
The Christmas one.
The Christmas we
get. Christmas one.
Yeah. And I think just acknowledging that you do an amazing job, but it can be a tough job sometimes. It's understanding that, but it's also understanding why it is tough. So I often say what rocks and what blocks.
Yeah.
So what rocks? So it's celebrating what you do really well. But what are the blocks? What are the things that just make you have a headache while you're at work? Because if it's making your life difficult, the chances are it's making the person with autism's life somewhat difficult. And understanding that's really important. So I think the visibility of leaders is really important. I think the pastoral care support to colleagues is vitally important, because there's lots of research out there that highlights if if the support staff aren't in a good place, in a good headspace, or things are not quite right within the culture and the team dynamics, that will have an impact on the person that you're there to support. So understanding and protecting all of that and making sure that those sorts of things don't happen are really important.
Precision, yeah.
And we're on to the last question.
Yeah.
One thing you wish everybody knew about SJOG? Well, we're just great.
Yeah.
No, I think, crikey, again, I think there's just so many things I can think of, but the Loved programme, I think, has been really pivotal in supporting colleagues, and we have a very low turnover. We have a very healthy culture.
Yeah.
Our satisfaction percentages are in the high 90%, because our colleagues tell us that.
Yeah.
The people we support tell us that. The families and the professionals tell us that. So I think we look after one another.
We do.
And it's obviously it's very important that we look after the people we support, but we work just as hard as supporting each other as we do a person with autism, I think. Okay, so we are on to the next part, which is the SJOG shout out. I love these terms. So this is where we talk about our colleagues who go the extra mile every single day. They put themselves out there and they do just an amazing job. Now, this is our challenge, Sunday, to identify one person. I mean, I would say all 600 of our colleagues are amazing, but to talk about somebody that we work alongside who deserves a shout out. So, and tell us why. I'm going to kick this off, and the person I'm going to shout out is a person that you know, that we both know, and that is Nicola Toth.
Oh my God, why would you shout out? Like, same person
You were going to pick her, weren't you?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I'm going to make your life so much harder. I think Nicola is an unsung hero.
Yeah, she is.
In terms of she's the first manager of the old vicarage where you work.
Yeah.
And we brought Nicola on board to be that manager and to really set the old vicarage up in the way that we really wanted it to be set up alongside our autism practice model. And the great thing is about Nicola is she just gets it. She's just
very
gets
proactive.
It. She is. And I think she looks beyond where the person with autism is. She challenges that individual. She pushes them and encourages them in the right way. She motivates them in the right way. And I think because she's also got a really good in-depth knowledge of autism, she's got a master's in autism. In fact, I think she's got a master's in just about everything. She's just a very talented individual. But she uses that theory, she applies it in the practice, but she teaches people.
She does.
And that is really important as a manager. So for me, it's Nicola.
You know, I have a practical experience of this same individual, Nicola Toth. I'm giving a shout out to her actually. So she has these special skills of evaluating people's strengths and weaknesses. And she sees your weaknesses, she helps improve and transform that weakness into strength. She identifies areas of concern and she improves in them. She's proactive, like I've said before, because she doesn't like to take tasks over. She wants to get it done on the go. She's just superwoman.
Oh wow!
She's super.
So Nicola is now superwoman.
She's super.
She is going to have a
She's
very
good.
big ego.
She's good. I wish I have the power. I can actually give her a lot of that.
I love that. But I think, Nicola is somebody that really does stand out for me. But I think our colleagues in all of our autism specialist services, they have something unique in that they have a thirst to improve.
Yeah.
And they're not satisfied with just the average
environment they are at the
how
moment.
we do
No,
things.
they want to
They're
improve.
constantly looking at doing better.
True.
But I do think a lot of that is part of our managers and our head of complex needs, Tony Fife, who leads the team in we can do better, let's do more.
I know.
So I love that. And I think for me, having the idea of the autism practice model, you know, many years ago, and seeing that develop, and it's evolved, and those iteration of models have changed over the years. So actually seeing the people we support now thrive and see our colleagues thrive, for me, that is the ultimate. That was my aim, really, to see happening, and it is happening. And what's also nice is I've been able to hand that model over now, and other people are leading that model. That's a really nice baton to hand over for the future, really. We've had a really good conversation. I think we could go on and on with this, but I think for me as Chief Operating Officer, to be able to sit with somebody like yourself is really nice to do that, and it reminds me about why I do what I do. I think we've learned from each other, and hopefully this will go out to many more people, and they can listen for what it's worth. Our 2 pence of autism acceptance, and we need to do more. We will continue to do more. So watch this space for the next podcast. Thank you very much for talking with me today. That was lovely.
It's a privilege.
Love that.
It is.